Hello, and welcome to Mysteries, Monsters, and Mayhem.
We are, aside from the title, we're going to explore all kinds of things that are mysterious and fantabulous and basically things that pique our interest, whether they are generic mayhem or monsters of the human or inhuman variety or mysteries that have yet to be solved.
And this is our second episode. And
Woo-hoo!
So this time we are going to remember to introduce ourselves sooner. So, MB, why don't you start?
My name is MB Partlow. I am going to have an absolute brain fart now and think of nothing to say about myself. I am an as of yet unpublished writer, although I have written for all of the newspapers in town, I think, and published through them. So I have thousands and thousands of published words, just not in the fiction that is what I would like to be published. So I write fantastical fiction, and I like to say I tell lies for fun and profit, but right now it's just for fun. I haven't gotten to the profit yet. I'm a proud owner of 2 cats and a dog. My dog thinks you are her best friend. She thinks every dog is her best friend. She thinks every person she meets is her best friend. And she thinks cats are just there to take the good napping spots.
It's true, honestly. They also like to take my seat. I am Shannon Lawrence, horror author, mostly short stories. I am published. I have a couple collections out there. You can find me at thewarriormuse.com. I have 4 cats. Hey, you might hear any one of them at any given time on this podcast because we're recording at our house. But I think Persephone wandered away after she got her attention. Oddly, there are 2 teenagers in this house and a spouse and the 4 cats. And so far I've seen 1 cat today and not a sign of a human being since we've been recording. They're really good at staying quiet and staying out of the way while we do this. It's kind of frightening. Either that or they're all dead and I didn't find that out yet. That's a real possibility.
That's not good.
No, but that's me, I guess. You know. Last time we talked a bit about kids. This time it's cats and dogs.
Yep. We each have 2 kids.
It's true. She has 2 older than mine, and then I have 2 teeny boppers. One is a new teeny bopper at 13, boy and a girl child, and hers are thing 1 and thing 2. So if we mention them, you know what we're talking about.
Yes.
All right, so
I have a new swear.
Oh,
well, it's not a swear; it's an expletive, and it comes from thing 1 who works at a psychiatric hospital. Because apropos of nothing, this guy goes. They were asking him questions. I don't know if they were doing the assessment or what, and he just says, "Cheesy potatoes." So when I saw her, I said that to her all weekend, and she was like, "Mom."
Yeah. You gotta tell him, Mom.
Well, no, they're used to me now.
Mine are, I don't know, they're just pretty sedate about stuff that I do. They just take it and go with it. But they've got 2 smart-ass parents, so I guess. I had 1 smart-ass parent and 1 serious parent, so.
Neither one of mine were particularly smart-assy. But I was the youngest child in my family, so I belong in the center stage, at the center of all attention.
Look at me. I'm the oldest. I like to hide from the attention, except for sometimes I'm like, give me positive attention. Recognize me. Recognize what I have done. That's my oldest sibling superpower. Like, hide. Stay out of view. Know that they're going to get in trouble because they're all younger than me, because the next one after me is 5.5 years younger. I have 4 younger siblings, just so you know, and probably they'll end up in these podcasts. So sorry
probably
to my siblings, but right now I haven't gotten to see most of them because of the pandemic. But I am going on a trip with my sister to New Orleans, and I'm very excited about that because I've never been. Yes, we're going to mask and be good little girls, but yeah, they would get in trouble. She's 14 years younger than me, so. Mm-hmm. I just left that to them, and if I kept my nose down, I didn't draw attention.
Do you know how you'll see a movie or something on TV and somebody has fear of public speaking?
Yeah.
I thought that was fiction.
Wow. No, I very much.
Because for me, it was like, give me the microphone. You want me to stand up and address a room full of people? Great. What would you like me to talk about?
Oh, no. Until I started running local writers events, doing NCE for Pikes Peak Writers, Yeah, no, I didn't want to be anywhere near. My mouth was so dry, and now I have this strange addiction to it, which is, I mean, you have to mentally force yourself to do it for so long that you kind of train yourself. And I keep telling my son, who's like, I don't want to have to give her up heart. And now their schooling is on Zoom. I'm like, well, you know what? The more you do it, the more you're going to get comfortable with it. I mean, that's why they make you do it in school. It makes sense to me now. Certainly didn't then. I absolutely hated it. And then when I found out I had to take a speech class as a requirement in college, I was like, no, you don't want to. But now I'm like, hey, you've had your time. Give me the microphone. And which would be funny because I got given a ration of shit by Stephen Graham Jones and Jason Henry because I have a loud voice. Again, I'm the oldest of 5, and I come from, some bumpkin lineage. We're loud people. And, I was like, they can hear me without the microphone. I'm not going to use the microphone. And honestly, I still prefer it because you don't get feedback when you're just talking to a room without a microphone. But yeah, they gave me crap for it. And now all of a sudden I have no problem talking into microphone, which is weird.
I just come from a long line of bossy women. And I'm naturally loud. It's my laugh, everything about me. So
that's why we go out in public together, because she'll talk to all the people and I can be there and enjoy being around people without having to have that onus on me to do all the talking.
She doesn't have to interact with them at all if she doesn't
I really
want to.
don't. And there are days I don't.
I will interact with everyone within back in the pre-COVID days, within like a 6-foot radius.
Strangers talk to me though. And I'm like, do you not see me trying to hide from you? Like even when we went to All Gone Pizza in Fort Garland the one day, I mean, I always end up just having those little... I was, talking about the cake, and then the guy came and talked to me about, oh yeah, this is a really good cake, and I've had this before, and I've done this, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Maybe you just looked hungry.
Probably always look hungry.
Let me tell you, what was the name of the restaurant in Fort Garland?
Oh, the All Gone?
The All Gone in Fort Garland,
All Gone
Colorado.
Pizza.
So here's what you need to know. It is, and I am sorry to the entire city of Pueblo, but this place has the best slopper. So if you're not from Colorado, and in particular from Pueblo, a slopper is an open-faced burger. I always get mine topless because that means no top bun.
Dirty girl.
I'm a dirty girl. But it comes smothered in green chili, which I cannot resist if I am in a state west of the Mississippi. Comes smothered in green chili, chopped onions, and grated cheddar cheese. It is divine. Now, if you're really lucky, you've got fries or tots or something on the side, and the green chili just smothers freaking everything.
What'd they call theirs? Flat fries or flat potatoes?
Something like that. Oh my God.
I've never seen anything like it, but it was so good.
They were flat, but they weren't thin enough to be potato chips. They were thicker than potato chips.
Yeah.
But God damn, they were good.
I know. There's this thing about this restaurant. It's on the highway that goes out to you can get to probably Durango. Alamosa is the next big city. So it shoots out from I-25 and goes west to just all these touristy mountain places, I guess, basically. And I have a brand spanking new cabin at 11,001 feet altitude, in Fort Garland. So with everything shut down, some of the restaurants have shut down, but we've got this one place, and I looked at reviews for it, and it said, I wouldn't have thought a place that had Italian, Mexican, and whatever other variety of things.
Fudge.
Plus fudge.
And homemade desserts.
Oh my gosh. They have a little fridge, a cooler when you walk in, and it's just got this array of, obviously somebody baked these from scratch. This isn't some formula.
It's in your grandma's glass Pyrex baking dish.
And it's this variety of cakes and pies.
What was the cake I got? John Hoosier cake?
Oh yeah, it was Hoosier cake.
Hoosier cake. No, it was a guy's name. It was John.
Oh, was it?
Or
Jim, George, or Joe Bob, George.
Somebody Hoosier. It was like a Texas sheet cake, so it wasn't super thick, but then it had this fudgy ice. Oh my God, it was chocolate.
And it had the sugar grit.
Yes, on the edges. Mm-hmm. I had it for breakfast the next morning.
Well, mine was a mocha tres leches cake, and I've had their chocolate cream pie now. My husband had their cherry cream, which is like, some sort of whipped cream center, because he can't stand pudding. It wasn't puddingy or anything. It wasn't custard. And then cherries on top, which I want to try it. Supposedly it's just, there was a sign for it when we were there, but it wasn't there, so he got lucky. But oh yeah, it's everything is good so far. And their burgers are grilled in butter.
Oh yes,
and they're massive.
Yeah, they are.
I got one for girl child, and she was like, "Look at this!" And it was the size of her face. But that's the same patty they put in the slopper. So anyway, in case you haven't figured out, we enjoy food and we like talking about it and trying new restaurants, which right now isn't such a big thing, but hopefully one day again will be. But we get takeout from those places now, and that works.
Oh, and speaking of food finds, have I raved to you yet about the Pickle Shack?
No.
Oh my God. So my husband and I went out leaf peeping a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. If you haven't heard of leaf peeping, where have you been? This is just what you do in the fall. You drive around and look at the leaves. So people think
maybe West Coast it's not such a thing. I don't remember doing it West Coast, but we lived in Maryland. Yes, oh yeah, absolutely.
So we went up the pass, up 24, and we come back. What is the name of the town where Wines of Colorado is?
Woodland Park.
No, it's before Woodland Park.
Cascade.
We'll go with Cascade. I don't remember.
I don't know. There's a couple.
There are. So there are all these little towns as you're taking the pass up into the mountains. So I'm like, oh, look, there's a sign for the Pickle Shack. Damn, I wish I'd seen that. And all of a sudden it says, I yell, because that's how I read signs in the car. I yell, oh my God, the Pickle Shack is at the next exit. Take it now. Well, it wasn't very heavy traffic. So yes, we took the exit, and the Pickle Shack is tiny. And right next door, there's an oxygen bar, and it says, for entry, please see the Pickle Shack, which cracks me up. We got cherry butter. That's right. It should be illegal. It is so good. I got peach jalapeno jam. We got lemon stuffed olives. Oh. Let me tell you, that makes a martini.
Oh, yeah. I can't stand green olives, so I won't be trying that one. I like black olives.
They were so good. And we got soy pickled garlic that is so delicious. I can't even
taste like pickle?
It tastes like do you like Korean food?
Yes.
It is the flavor of everything you love about Korean food, because it's garlic and soy, and it's a little bit spicy. I think it's got sliced jalapenos in it. So of course I said something about the Pickle Shack, and Nikki's like, that's thing two. It's like, oh my God, why have you never taken me there? I'm like, well, we just discovered it. But if you're home for Thanksgiving, we will go to the Pickle Shack and stock up.
What are the chances that... So, the school district my kids go in are getting the number of COVID cases are growing. And so there's talk of them... I kept my kids home. We were able to opt whether they go back in person or do the online schooling. I kept them online, even though that comes with its own set of issues. But it's sounding like I'm wondering if the next break, if they're just not going to come back and they're going to finish out the, the, what is it, fall semester, winter semester, whatever, online. Don't know.
Because Nikki's in another state, so.
Yeah.
And it's not
they're not going to be doing the cold weather cramming yet like we are.
No, but neither is in a supremely forward-thinking state. I'll just leave it at that.
No. I guess we'll see. What have you been watching lately?
The Great British Baking Show is back.
Oh, yeah.
But they're only releasing one episode a week.
Boo. I saw so somebody did a talk on that, and it made more sense to me, because they were like, okay, here's the thing, Netflix, you get to binge watch it because it all comes out at once, right?
Right.
But the stations that are still doing it, well, they get this ongoing talk in between each episode because people are looking forward to it. There's a cliffhanger.
True.
And so when they binge watch it on Netflix, there's this rush of people talking about it, then it disappears again. Like
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, and what about the Lion one? What was that one?
We were just talking about that at work the other day.
I almost said Lion King, and I know that's not Tiger King.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah, the Tiger King show. That was all anybody could talk about, and it helped that it came out right at the beginning of the pandemic,
like 10 minutes.
Right? The corona apocalypse, and boom, that's all anybody's talking about. And then I haven't heard word one about them lately.
I have only heard about it because a woman came in the shop the other day looking for something. She was trying to put together a Carol Baskin outfit.
So there'll be some costumes.
And there was a couple in, and they're like, do you know, we're probably the only people on the planet, but we've never watched it. I said, I never have either. But I know about it.
I binge watched
from everybody talking about it.
Yeah. But what station is it? It's Amazon Prime. The Boys, right?
Yes.
They're doing that one episode at a time this time because it draws out the talk, and it helps their numbers, and
I
then
bet
they
it
get more
does.
and more people engaged each week. So from a marketing standpoint, and therefore the financial standpoint, where people who subscribe to these to watch a show or something like that and then cancel it, they make more money, and that's why. Sorry, just a random thought, because
It makes sense.
yeah,
It makes sense. I haven't started watching The Boys yet. I loved it. I also didn't watch the last season of Queer Eye yet.
I didn't either.
Because it was it's toward the beginning of the pandemic when it came out, and I was like, I don't need a reason to sit on my sofa and cry in the dark. I have plenty. Because I do. Every time I watch those, I cry. But
I found it so comforting. This is why I didn't finish it. I find the Queer Eye so comforting that I would fall asleep if I was.
Oh.
So when that season came out, I'll just briefly. I have fibromyalgia, and when I get a flare up, I'm exhausted. And I was working as a waitress. I was working as a bookkeeper, but I was filling in as a waitress at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was very hard on me physically. So I was basically getting home from work at the end of the night and half passing out or fully passing out. And my husband just set up this kind of oasis on our back porch and found this outdoor couch online and went and got it. And we would just turn on something like Fear Factor or something we'd seen before, and just I would pass out and he'd watch it for a while, and then that was how it was going. And so when I try to watch Queer Eye, I was just out, because it's comforting.
It's very soothing.
And so it just zonked, and I'm like, I'm going to stop. I'm going to watch this when I actually watch an episode and don't wake up going, what is this? Although I did get very upset in post, because one of them was about ALS and nobody had warned me. And it was hard because my dad died a year ago of ALS. And so, and here's the thing, I had fallen asleep. This is why. I fell asleep in the last episode. I woke up wondering what was going on, but without having heard the intro, and then just got slammed with it, and it was
awful.
Ugly. And then I didn't watch anymore after that, and not because of him. Just
I also cried a lot watching Schitt's Creek.
I watched the last episode last night, and it made me
Well, so in there's a relationship. One of the characters gets into a new relationship. David. And just as it develops, as that relationship developed, pretty much every time they hit a milestone, I cried. I was just like, I'm just a big sobbing baby now.
Yeah, but you don't get to see that much. And it was organic, because the guy writing it and producing it is the guy who's playing that part. And he is a gay man, and that's part of the... It
was such beautiful character development in all four of those characters.
They really grew.
Yes, they all did.
Maybe not Moira.
It's a little bit. There was a guy who did it was on Facebook, the guy who's doing the takeoff on Schitt's Creek, and he had a beautiful imitation of all of them.
I don't know this. This person doing a takeoff of Schitt's Creek.
He's talking about, he's imitating mostly Moira, a little bit Alexis, some David, and then he just has...
Eugene Levy's not really...
He goes, fantastic.
Right. His character isn't crazy on that. He's the norm. He's the normie.
He is. He's a little crazy, but...
He is, but he's kind of playing the straight man to all their crazy characters.
He just gets so fed up.
Well, wouldn't you? If those were your wife and kids?
But when he's talking to, what's the mayor's name?
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, God, he's so annoying.
But in the...
he's trying to borrow the truck, and he just goes, I'll just walk! And it's another town. It's not like he's walking down, a couple of blocks.
He probably has his dress shoes on. He always has his suit and dress shoes on. All I remember about the mayor is he's in one of the scary movies, and he has the tiny hand. He's like, take my good hand! And nobody wants to.
Where did I just see the tiny hand? Oh, my God! Paul Hollywood uses the tiny hand in the Great British Baking Show.
Oh my God.
In one of the intro pieces. It's hilarious.
Deadpool, it's magical.
Well, okay.
It's gonna feel huge.
That is...
I think I have my tiny hand in here in this office somewhere.
That is my all-time movie. If I need to be cheered up, if I am at the bottom and I just need something that will make me laugh.
Oh God, yes.
It is Deadpool.
I need number 3 to come out right quick.
Yeah, like today.
Yes. But that first one was magical, and just the whole, you knew in the credits if you were going to like it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Either you were like, oh my God, this is amazing, which was me in the movie theater.
I was sitting there going, it's like they wrote this movie just for me. And I remember how long ago did it come out? because it's been a few years.
It's been a few years, but I'm not sure.
Because when it first came out, I said, Thing 2, my younger daughter said something about Deadpool, and I said, I can't wait to see that movie. And she goes, well, it's kind of graphic, and there's a lot of swearing in it. I said, it's a fucking naked Ryan Reynolds. I don't need to know anything else.
Except he's burned, so... But, oh, God, yeah, I've loved him since, what is it, Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. Yep.
Yes.
Love his humor. So, I watched a movie called Bad Hair? I looked it up, right? Just the beginning of this, called Bad Hair, and I think I watched it on Hulu. Yes, it's a Hulu exclusive.
I can't wait to see that.
Point of fact. As I posted, I was traumatized because they think Blair Underwood is just gray-haired dad material, and I was like, he still looks like Blair Underwood. Mm-hmm. But Vanessa Williams is one of the villains, and
I bet she just eats that shit up.
Oh, she's great.
I love her.
Like, she used to play such dignified characters, especially with
Did you not see her on Desperate Housewives?
Oh, yeah, but, like, I saw her in the movie Eraser and stuff like that first, which is an Arnold Schwarzenegger action flick.
Yes.
I'm all about...
I vaguely remember that.
Okay. And she was always dignified at first. And then she got to start exploring with Desperate Housewives, I think.
I think she's got a terrific sense of humor, which Hollywood has not previously utilized to its full potential.
Yeah, there was somebody else who made me think that lately, and I have no idea. But the movie, it's, I believe it's black written, black made, everything about it. It's an indie horror film, but it's about a weave gone bad. And that's all I can tell you.
I want to see it.
It's good. It's fun. And of course, there's social commentary in it. The best kind of horror has that, right? Mm. But just one of the, and I don't even know how much is a spoiler, but there is an element that just cracked me up. And I just need people to watch it so I can talk to them about that part.
I will let you know as soon as I have seen it.
But yeah, it's good. And it's, it's a little bit cheesy. It reminded me, if anybody's seen the Body Bags, I think it was John Carpenter, but I don't remember. Body Bags movie anthology. There's this old movie, it's a short film with Stacy Keach, and his hair is thinning, and so he gets a product that's meant to grow it back in. And this came out, when like that was first becoming a thing. Do you get hair plugs?
Rogaine.
Do you use Rogaine for men? And anyway, he uses it, and his hair kind of takes on a life of its own. It's coming in, it's all lush. He feels beautiful, and which Stacy Keach with this long, flowing locks is weird to begin with. But then, it starts to go very, very wrong. So it very much reminded me of that, but obviously with a whole different type of social commentary than that first one had.
Yeah. I got to see Thing 1. So we watched a couple of the classics, Hocus Pocus.
Oh, yeah.
Which I have to confess, I saw for the first time last year at Halloween.
Oh,
I don't know.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, people were just shocked, and I'm like, I don't know, it was not on my radar. But we also watched Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
And I said, it was really funny.
You watch the sweet Halloween movies. That is not what I've been watching.
So I said because of course she has, now you have to understand, in our house, we call the cell phones, we call them potatoes.
Okay.
So she's got her potato in her hand. So I said, who is voicing, what's the female character in Nightmare Before Christmas?
Oh, yeah, I don't remember.
Sally. I said, who does Sally's voice? Because first I said, who's doing Jack's voice? And it's two different people, because Danny Elfman does the singing, but Chris Sarandon does the speaking.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah. So she looked it up, and she said, Catherine O'Hara. And I said, Moira.
Really?
And she, yes.
It's been so long since I watched that.
Yes. So yeah, that you can always learn something new.
It's true.
And then yesterday I was just having a bad moment, so I watched some Buffy.
Oh yeah,
the series Buffy the Vampire.
I know. I'm all about the movie Buffy, and you're all about the TV series.
I do like the movie. But...
That's good. A lot of people don't.
Oh,
apparently it wasn't the Vision, and I'm like, okay, but it was a Vision, so suck it.
Paul Rubin's death scene?
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Phenomenal.
And I've always loved Rutger Hauer because Lady Hawk was big for me when I was a little girl. And so I've been watching the old Married with Children because it's on Hulu. Mm-hmm. And I reached a point I'd completely forgotten, and then all of a sudden a couple days ago, I got to the episode where Peggy Bundy is pregnant, and obviously the actress is really pregnant, and I went, oh shit, I think I remember she lost this baby after they wrote it into the show.
Oh.
And sure enough, I looked it up, and I was like, oh, so then I've been sad, like every episode I'm watching, and then I've gotten to the last 3 episodes, she's not in it. And so I assume that's when she's recovering. And then I think they just make it disappear because they're not talking about it anymore. And it was all about that pregnancy for 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh, well, that's Katie Seagal.
Yes.
And you know what she's doing now? She's doing double duty. She's got a new series that's just been picked up. I can't remember anything about it except she's one of the leads because she's a fabulous actress. But she also has a recurring role on The Connors.
Really?
She is Dan's girlfriend. And apparently when the new series got picked up, she went to the writers and said, do not write this character out. I will be here. I will do whatever it takes. Don't write this character out of Dan's life. Let him have the girlfriend. So she's going to be one exhausted lady.
I liked it. Did you watch Sons of Anarchy?
I did not.
Oh,
I don't know why.
I enjoyed the show. It was another one that I always watch these after. I can't stand to watch something when everybody's talking about it because it turns me off when that's all they're talking about. And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired of hearing about it. So then I always watch it years later or months later.
I'm still working my way through Ray Donovan. How old is that
Oh,
show?
yeah. And where are you watching it?
Because
I keep meaning to check it out because Liev Schreiber.
I don't know. In the beginning of the pandemic, when we were all stuck at home, somebody ran a free 30-day trial, and it was on there. But now it's on, I don't know. I just say Ray Donovan into my remote, and it pulls
Oh, okay.
I don't know where it is. I'm working my way through that. I'm watching The West Wing.
Okay, I never really watched. I'm not big on politics shows.
It's Allison Janney is in it, and I love her. And I had never got to the end of Boston Legal. I was rewatching that from beginning to end because I love James Spader.
And I started watching that because you recommended it, and then we just never got back to it because we got distracted by something. I think Fleabag, which
I still haven't watched that either.
Oh my god! Oh, you have to. And then they brought her onto the new James Bond to add humor to it. No, you will absolutely love her though. She's your type of person.
Okay.
I guarantee you on that one. But don't always guarantee, but she's amazing and fabulous, and I love her. And she makes bad decisions. She does. You have to know that. But she is funny as hell, and she breaks the fourth wall all the time.
Love it. Well, did you watch Miranda?
No.
It's a half-hour Britcom.
Okay.
It stars. Who's that very tall actress? Her name is Miranda. She was in Spy with Melissa McCarthy. She was the best friend in that one.
Oh, I don't remember.
She was on Call the Midwife. She's
Wow.
She's 6 foot tall. She's a 6 foot tall British actress. But she plays Miranda, and there is a lot of fourth wall breaking. Now, have you watched?
Oh, the bigger lady that has the brunette hair,
yes.
like bigger as in tall.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay.
So I'm watching this, and it's hilarious. Sharon and Mike recommended it to us.
Okay.
And it's super funny. But there's her love interest, this guy she's attracted to, is a chef at a restaurant. And I saw him 2 or 3 times before I realized it's the guy who plays Lucifer, who is all beautiful and sculpted now. He was not then. I mean, he's not
what?
Yes! It took me like 2 or 3 episodes to go, wait a minute, I know who that is.
Oh my gosh.
And he's just this nice guy.
Oh, I started watching this show on Shudder that's called Holliston, and it's kind of redonkulous, but it's I think written, directed by Adam Green, and he did the Hatchet movies. I don't know if you've seen those. They're these extremely gory and yet humorous horror films. And it's like Hatchet 1, Hatchet 2, Hatchet 3, and then, oh no, the bad guy's name is the name of the fourth one or whatever.
Son of Hatchet.
No, but so he's very tongue-in-cheek with his horror, but he likes the gore too. So it's this combination of two disparate. So it's cheesy as hell. Dee Snider's in it as their boss. And he dresses like Dee Snider, but he's playing a boss at this TV station, and he's in a cover band.
Oh my god.
Like a cover hair band, and it's fabulous, and it's stupid as hell, and it's obviously low budget. So I've been watching that, but he had and now I know why, because he directed movies with them in it. I started watching this movie I'd seen before, and I went, hey, that's Adam Green that just passed out on the street. He's not in the rest of the movie, and oh my gosh, I can't remember what it was. But Danielle Harris is in it.
Oh, wow.
Tony Todd is in it. Kane Hodder is in it, which Tony Todd is Candyman. Danielle Harris was the little girl in Halloween in the clown costume.
Oh,
okay. And she was in Well, it was Hatchet 2 that I was watching with Tony Todd. They're all in it, but they're in the TV show. But anyway, I was like, no wonder they were in his TV show with these big cameos. And then, lo and behold, his roommate has a girlfriend. Well, she was in it very briefly. Being hit on by somebody, and she's like, I'm 15 years old. She's this little... I don't remember where she's supposed to be from. But anyway, like, it's a comedy sketch show, but with... He has an imaginary friend that's this monster in fishnets and like dressed up like he's in a hairband, like leather and spikes on his shoulders.
That's sounding vaguely familiar.
It's so weird. I'd never heard of it, and it popped up on there. So yeah, I've been watching that, but it's been fun seeing like Tony Todd, Candyman, Danielle Harris dresses up in the clown costume in like this almost sex scene, and that it's hysterical. And Kane Hodder is he's this big guy because he played the monster in Hatchet. He's played Jason in some of the movies. He was the bigger Jason. Big guy. He's got scars on his body, so I'd like to know the stories about that, like maybe burn scars or something like that. But they were just Tony Todd was a pain in the ass in it, and he and I can listen to that man talk forever, but he's like, comes in their apartment and starts bringing all these women in and acting like a diva. And Danielle Harris is acting like a pill popper who's just trying to get drugs, but they're playing themselves. And Kane Hodder's insecure because he wasn't in Freddy versus Jason. So he keeps talking about, what they told me when we make Freddy versus Jason, they're like, Kane, it was already made and you weren't Jason. So it's stuff like that.
Okay,
just somebody
that sounds
who,
up my alley.
just loves horror, obviously, you know. I'm trying to remember what else he did that I was like, oh, this is him. But yeah, anyway. And it might have been just my epiphany that he'd done Hatchet. I think that might have been it.
I haven't rewatched Halloween yet.
Oh yeah, I do that on Halloween.
Maybe I'll do it on Halloween.
What are you doing for Halloween?
I don't know.
Are you even getting candy? No. I don't even know if people are going to trick or treat.
The people are building these, now I'm sure your husband would do, the candy shoots. I'm like, no.
I haven't decided. We'll probably get candy, but
I'm not going to eat candy at the kids this year. I'm like, no, I don't want the little petri dishes known as children coming to my house and sticking their hands in a bowl of candy. And I'm like, yes, I could put gloves on, and they could put gloves. I'm just not doing it this year. And I love Halloween, but no.
I actually don't love that part of Halloween. It actually makes it so I can't sit and watch horror like I want to on Halloween. So maybe this year I'll just put it out on a table, and just so the audience know, I don't know when we're going to air these because we haven't decided on the air dates yet. But right now it's snowing and it's October 25th.
Yes.
So I don't actually know what Halloween's supposed to be like.
I wanted to say I would be drinking heavily, but I can't. Because I can't before I have my little thing done.
Oh, yeah.
10 days.
Wow.
I was like, what the...
All right. Body soak up alcohol so they don't want it in there like a sponge?
I don't know. But I need to know because I'm having a little tiny procedure done on November 3rd, which I told you. So yeah, I need to know, can I drink heavily that day? After the procedure, is it okay to drink? Because I will either be very happy or very sad. As
hopefully happy.
I hope I will be happy. But if either way, I think a cocktail would go down a treat.
I'm sad because I've been saving books. And then I have a year's worth of books saved up to put out there because one of our friends runs, what do you call it, Trick or Read? Or is it something else?
Read, yes.
And
the fabulous author, David Slayton.
Yeah, who had a book come out this week, actually, which is White Trash Warlock.
It is so good. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Will read again.
I have my copy upstairs, but I haven't read it because I was reading books for a book club last week, and I had to get through the series because I wasn't caught up. But he does an annual Halloween party, and he encourages everybody to bring books for kids and teens and in between, you know, and then he gets books from mostly unknown authors, authors who, I can't think of the term, but authors who aren't they aren't white male authors necessarily, aren't in that big
more
chain.
Diverse.
Yes. Like when my first book came out, he bought copies of it and he gives them out. So it's really awesome. But you bring your books, and you leave with bags of books to put out for those of us who like to do the trick or read at our houses. So I can go there and I end up At the end when he's like, hey, we've got still bags of books, I'm like, give them to me. And the neighborhood has become very used to that. And I don't think I can do that this year.
I did that last year that was my first time to do trick or read. And I had kids who were not getting candy. They were coming up, I can get a book. I said, yeah. And I had a few adult books out there as well. I'm like, if your parents want a book, if your big sister wants a book, come. And they were all, and I put it on Nextdoor, the app,
okay.
so that people knew. I'm like, I will have kids' books out. So if people want to come get books, please do.
I put out last year was the first I put out to the neighborhood, like, if anybody wants to bring books, you don't want to do a table of your own, but you have books to get rid of, by all means bring them. One person did bring over books, which was cool. If I'd thought of it earlier, I could have I put it out the day of. But yeah, I do I just save my books, that I'm not planning to keep on a shelf that I read through the year, and keep them in a box.
I will tell you, I will put this on my personal Facebook page, not on, we should mention that we have Facebook and a website and all that good stuff. We'll round it up at the end.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be posting on my personal Facebook page if you have any books you want to get rid of. And I know everybody I know is an avid reader or writer and has too many books. Thing One works at a psych hospital, and they have a lot of people who read, but they have a very limited amount right now of books for them to read. And apparently the last person who was in charge, not throwing any shade, she was a lovely person who was slightly more religious, and so a lot of the books have a religious bent to them, which not everybody wants to read. One guy was like, do you have any Stephen King? So I'm going to put out a call if anybody wants to get books to me before Thanksgiving so she can take them back. They can't glorify drugs, drug abuse or alcohol abuse, or sexual abuse. They can't be violent for violence sake. And they cannot detail how one would escape from a secure facility.
Darn. Okay. No, I've actually got some good ones. I was thinking, though, that in my stack I've got Zombie by, I think it's Joyce Carol Oates, and it's all about this kind of like a Jeffrey Dahmer type of guy. And I'm like, I will not send that one.
No.
Are there men and women, or just...
It could be any genre.
Okay.
It could be horror, it could be romance, it could be mystery.
We can put that out on our Facebook page,
and
too.
it could be YA, because not everybody's reading level is terribly advanced.
Okay.
So.
Perfect. And we're at 37 minutes of chatter, which is 6 minutes longer than last time. So we did not improve that part. So why don't you go first?
Okay, I will. So I decided to do a monster, but I'm really stretching the definition here, because when I started looking at what I'm going to talk about, I'll just tell you what I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Colorado Gators Reptile Park in Mosca, Colorado. It's near the sand dunes. Yes, because Colorado has a park that's sand dunes in the middle of this mountainous state. So I got a lot of the information from their website, Colorado Gators Reptile Park. Or you can just Google it, you'll find it. So here's what my game for Shannon is: how many horror movies could you make out of the information I'm going to give you?
All right.
About this place. And have you been?
Yes.
Okay. I've been there twice.
We went the first time last year.
Oh. I went.
La Vita Pass was on fire, which is near there.
Good timing.
Yeah. No, it sucked because we were in a hotel that's also a drive-in down there.
Yes.
Yes, and the smoke was just pouring in under our door, and so I was wetting towels and putting them under the hotel room door. But I'm a bad sleeper anyway, and very sensitive to smoke and stuff. So yeah, I sat up all night in the bathroom reading while everybody else slept.
Which is not unusual for you.
No, it's not. I do that at cons.
So in 1974, Irwin and Lynn Young and their 4 kids moved from Texas to Alamosa, Colorado.
All right, Texas, there's one Horton. No.
Because they had heard about the geothermal properties. We have these natural springs, and they wanted to raise tilapia. So, and I was like, people were raising tilapia in 1974. It was not on my radar then, but it wasn't like I was cooking.
Yeah, that's the banana belt down there still, I think. Our house, if it wasn't so high, would be in it. But the other day when it was 30-something down here, it was 65 at 11,000 feet altitude.
So in 1977, they purchased the land that is now the park. And in 1987, so they're raising and processing tilapia. In 1987, they purchased 100 baby alligators to dispose of the dead fish and the byproducts of processing the fish. So, 100 baby gators, that's a movie right there.
Mm-hmm. I've watched one recently. There was Crawl, there's all kinds of them.
Right? So the water on this property, the water is a constant 87 degrees. So that's perfect for the tilapia. It's also perfect.
I just want to build a house there and just swim in it.
So in 1990, they opened to the public. Okay, so you could have theme park gone wrong.
Yeah, you could have if you could do a whole twist about, and it's the tilapia that become killer, like piranha, and eat the alligators.
Right.
Or they breed, and you have tilligators.
Tilapagator.
Tilapagator. Alalapias.
No. That doesn't. I tried to. That sounds like alopecia. That's
oh.
No. Okay, so yes, in 1990 they opened to the public. So this just kills me. People are so stupid. I'm talking about the general public, not the people who own the alligator farm. People who owned big reptiles and snakes and weird shit started dropping them off at this place because they just assumed, hey, they've got alligators. They'd love to have an iguana and a python.
But people do that. I have friends who live at like the end of a rural road or something like that, and people drop their pets there all the time. And I'm like, you just assume that these people are going to take in all of your friggin' pets because they own some land?
People drop off cats
and dogs
suck all the time.
Yeah.
So, and I do want to point out, if you're...
For food?
Well... But if you're going to visit, do go look at their website because there's a coupon online and I am all over coupons.
And if you buy goods from the store like a shirt or a hat, those reusable things, you get a discount if you wear it when you go back.
Oh, did you know that? Mm-hmm. Did not know that. So one of the first things you get to do when you go in is you get a photo with a baby alligator. Mm-hmm. And I went in with things 1 and 2. Well, and Joe was with us, of course. And they were scared of it. And it was probably 2 feet long.
Oh, how long ago was it? How little were they?
Oh, it was a long time ago.
Okay.
They were like 6 and 8, maybe 5 and 7. So the guy looks at me and he goes, I bet Mom will hold it. And I think the little baby one actually has a little piece of cellophane tape around his...
Oh, yeah.
So he can't bite. So the guy hands me the alligator and I'm holding it and they stand next to me. We get the picture. We still have the picture.
We should post the pictures on when this airs.
So we post, or they give us the picture and I hand the alligator back and in one palm I have a palm full of alligator pee.
Oh, how nice for you.
So I've been peed on by an alligator. Top that, listening public.
Ours did not pee on us, but we do have the picture, so we'll post both our pictures.
So, I'm like, where's their sink? I need to boil my hands for 10 minutes to get the alligator pee off of it. So you can buy. So just that was another horror movie because maybe it's like the radioactive spider
eats through your skin.
It eats through your skin, or it turns you into some kind of manigator. I don't.
There's probably a movie for that already.
Probably.
Put out in the 70s. Yeah.
So you can buy a bucket of gator chow while you're there. Now, I will say that not as long ago as the first time I went, the second time I went, we took about 10 or 11-year-old Girl Scouts camping at the sand dunes. So there was sand and everything.
That's a horror movie.
Yeah. Really? It is. But we didn't so what we decided to do was when we pack up, and this was tent camping. That may have been my last tent camp. I was like, I'm just fucking done. So I called ahead and told them, can we bring this Girl Scout troop? Yep, come on in. So we get there and we get in, and I think they gave us a discount for being a group. And we're walking around and this guy comes out, one of the owners comes out with a cooler full of dead fish, frozen, for the girls to feed the alligators. And one of our Girl Scout moms is a registered nurse. So she's standing with like a gallon-sized bottle of Purell and she's like, come see me as soon as you're done. So the girls are just having a blast throwing dead fish to the alligators.
Nice.
It was gruesome and yet funny. Oh, so they have, here's what made me say people are so fucking stupid. They have African sulcata, and I could be butchering the pronunciation, tortoises that roam around.
Yeah.
And they're little low fences because they keep the tortoises in their own. Okay. So as per Wikipedia, these are native to the southern edge of the Sahara Desert. So why do you want one? You do not live there. You do not live on the edge of a desert.
I'm sure they love snow.
It's also the third largest tortoise species in the world. The adults weigh 70 to 100 pounds. And my notes actually say, what the fuck? I mean, think about it. Do you have room?
Well, that's all the people who got pythons and then set them free in Florida.
Yes.
So that they could then destroy the rest of the
species.
Right.
Yes. So I'm like, don't buy a fucking turtle until you research it and you know how big it's going to get.
And Colorado used to have really strict rules about anything that could get, was it salmonella or whatever? Well, lizards and turtles. And
yes.
Yeah.
So, and they've got 2 albino alligators. One I love, his name is Mr. Bo Mangles.
Yes.
But the other one was apparently in the movie Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
So how does
he bites off, oh no, is it Carl Weathers? His hand.
So there's a story. How does an alligator go from Hollywood, from a big name movie, to living in Mosca, Colorado?
I think the story, if you go to it, they have the story written on there or something, but I don't remember. But yeah, because he was in one of the indoor. He's old. He's old at this point. But he's in there. I think it was just to save him. Like, they get calls like the wildlife place that's up north of Denver, and they have like tigers and panthers and bears, and it's stuff that they travel to rescue the animals and bring them out.
Because they rescued some from the Tiger King.
Yeah. Or
I believe
something that was in the show. I don't remember.
They might have gone to Florida and rescue some animals that were picked up from anyway. The other stuff they've got Nile crocodiles. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the fuck does that need to be here for? It should be in the Nile.
Yeah, and it needs to be noted that the people who own this place are not bringing these in.
No.
Like, they're taking them in when people dump them or call and say, listen, there's this roadside attraction, which is a big place for stuff like that.
Yes. They've got Burmese pythons. They have a 17-foot reticulated python.
Oh, believe me, I saw those. I have a phobia of snakes, and yet I am utterly fascinated by them, which means I stand there with my skin crawling up my spine but stare at them and can't stop.
They've got anacondas.
Yes.
I saw that movie.
Oh, I saw that movie too.
That was horror that was hilarious.
Yeah. I still like every little once. If it pops on somewhere, then I'll watch it.
Yes. They have rattlesnakes. Okay, those are native.
But I assume rescued ones.
Who needs a box full? I mean, and snapping turtles. And those fuckers are mean.
I know. We had huge ones in Maryland, and I'm telling you, like, obviously ancient and massive, and I don't think people understand how big these things were, and they would come up out of the murk and they just rise like a leviathan, and I was like, I swam in there.
Yep.
With leeches and eels.
Oh yeah, leeches. We used to have a swimming hole.
Wait, yeah.
Somebody took a salt shaker whenever we went to the swimming hole, so when you got out, if you had a bloodsucker, you just poured the salt on it till it shriveled up and then flicked it off. You can't see me, but I'm demonstrating flicking.
I didn't even know they were leeches until later. I just pick them off and then go home, and I was like, what was that? I didn't know until like an adult. And I had seen Stand By Me, but they were big in that.
Yes. We never called them leeches. I don't know why we just always they were bloodsuckers.
Yeah.
Apparently we thought they were tiny vampires where I grew up. Oh, and there's something called an alligator snapping turtle, which is like every nightmare rolled into one. So that
may be what's in Maryland.
That could I don't know. Remember. I don't know where they came from. What I do remember, the first time we went, you're walking through and you see this big window. And when you walk up to the window, you realize you're looking into a fish tank, that I swear to you, I have had apartments with smaller bedrooms than this fish tank. So the water's kind of murky. It's not dirty. It's just kind of murky. And then all of a sudden, out of this gray water, this thing comes swimming towards you, and it's a catfish.
That's what else we swam with, and they're creepy because they have whiskers and they're thick.
They are creepy, but they're also delicious. So that's where my mind goes. But this thing is like the size of a Saint Bernard. It was just fucking huge. Normally, if I see a catfish, I start thinking cornmeal and cast iron and a little grease. This one, I thought, nightmares. I need to pick up my children and run. It was huge, and it looked like it was older than Methuselah.
I don't understand how anybody swam in watering holes and stuff like that in the South. Like, what do they throw a rock in to scare away the cottonmouths? In Oklahoma, I know is how it works. And it's like, okay, how long does that keep them away? Does the splashing keep them away after that? Is that what you do? Just make sure to splash. But Maryland was very southern that way. Yes. We had the catfish and we had all that. And by God, I swam in there.
I did. I grew up swimming in a river.
Ugh. And it was so stinky and filthy, like algae covered. And...
Oh no, ours wasn't. Ours was pristine. It was.
That's nice.
Alpine. No, it wasn't. Alpine, but,
in Oregon, we had a swimming hole that was much cleaner than the Maryland one.
It was very, very clean. What I think is hilarious though at this place, they have a rating system on each of the habitats, and it's either 1 alligator paw print or 5, telling you how good of a pet each animal would be. So 1 means don't. And 5 means this would make a lovely pet.
Okay.
So, if
this rattlesnake, wrong sticker,
likes to cuddle, but doesn't like cats.
Ignore the rattling. It's just his sign of love.
So you can take a reptile handling class.
Yep.
Do you know the minimum age for the reptile handling class?
I don't remember.
4.
Do you remember the hand or like finger in a jar? Did they have that in the
I
gift
don't remember
store?
that.
It's somebody who was one of their, it still is actually, I think, wranglers.
They have bloody pictures on the, because you can also take a gator wrestling class.
Uh-huh.
And they have all kinds of bloody photos of some guy, it's right down his face. It's a miracle to me he still has his eye.
Oh.
And another woman, she's proudly holding up her bandaged fingers that an alligator, and I'm like...
You're definitely signing some paperwork to take those classes.
Oh, yeah. It's only like $100, but you do have to be 18. So you start with 2 to 4 footers, and then you do the 5 to 7 footers, and then if you pass, you can wrestle an 8-footer.
All right.
I have no desire to do this, and you can do it now. And actually, when we put the photos up, besides putting our photos up, they have photos on the website of the alligators sunbathing in the snow.
Oh yeah, I love stuff like that.
They crawl out of that pool and they cool off in the snow, and then they hop back in. Now, I will say, they do a lot of education and outreach about how to care for animals like this and how not to. How certain of the animals should not be made into household pets because it's not good for them, it's not good for you. So they will bring the animals to different places, to church groups or schools or wherever. They'll bring a small alligator, the lizards, the snakes, not the stuff that's going to chew your fingers off. They are still fish farming. You can still buy fish there. And they're all live. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to buy them. I don't want to mess with that. But you can stock your pond with them, or you can eat them. You can fish on site.
You can feed them to your illegal pet alligator.
You can. Now, what they do, you have to take your own equipment. And it's either catch and release, or you pay per pound for whatever you catch. But they do ask if you catch carp, that you take them over and feed them directly to the gators.
Oh, aren't they invasive?
I believe so.
Okay.
They do have the alligators in the snow. They are active on Facebook. And this, I don't know why this made me laugh. It shouldn't. Early this year, was it Labor Day we had the blizzard? We had the snow? Something. I think it was Labor Day, the day before, the day after. Right around Labor Day, we had a big snowstorm, because it's 2020. So it killed 1,000 pounds of their fish.
Oh.
So the next day, they were processing fish like maniacs.
Yep.
They had this huge sale. It was $1 a pound. And there were people on Facebook going, well, if I fill up a truck with ice and drive over there, and I'm like, that's a long way to drive for tilapia. That's a very long way to drive for tilapia.
You really like some tilapia.
I guess if you wanted to buy a couple 100 pounds.
I actually haven't tried it unless it's been like in the mystery, filled in for something else. Because I read it before I'd ever tried it. It was like, this is a garbage fish and you're eating all of the toxins that they eat. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe not.
Sometimes tilapia to me tastes a little muddy.
But
yeah. I'm sure farmed, it's not like that. It's not, because it can't be, I don't know. I would think it would be better if it was farmed. So that is all about the Colorado Alligator Farm. I love that place. I will tell you, it does have its own distinctive aroma.
It does.
So be prepared for that. Have plenty of hand sanitizer when you leave. Because if you're... Did they have the ostrich when you were there?
I don't remember. Wait.
There was a...
Maybe I do.
Around the back, when you're walking around, they had a pen with an ostrich. That fucker was foul tempered. It hated...
They
life.
are.
It hated you. It
They're
hated
like
me.
llamas.
It hated everybody.
I think, oh my gosh, I don't remember if it's ostriches or emus in Dude, Where's My Car? They get attacked by whatever it is because it's super angry bird. I think it's an ostrich.
I think it would be an ostrich.
Yeah, it's.
Now, I have been with people who were living through a dude, where's my car moment. I knew a guy in graduate school who called the police and reported his car as stolen because he was too drunk to remember where it was.
Well, I guess that's one way to do it. But on the APB.
And the police are kind of, in a college town, a big college town. This was Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And they're just kind of like, yep. Sure you did, Sparky.
Sure, somebody saw it. Alrighty then.
So that was my monster. I was just so, because it did every line I read. They bought 100 baby alligators, and I'm like, that's a movie.
Just think if it flooded down there or something, and washed them all out, and then they were like just all these crazy animals.
Oh my
just
God,
in
you have to
people's
write
backyards and stuff. Yeah, I kind of want to write about the last episode's axe murder too, fictionalize that crap. Because with the mirror stuff, with all that stuff, I can make it into something.
And washing your
different.
hands. Do something with the bacon.
The slab of bacon. I mean, at least maybe he meant to take it and he forgot. He's like, oh shit, yeah, look at this bacon. And then he got distracted with all the killing and such. There were a lot of people in that house.
There
Probably
were
more than he expected.
There were very many people in that house. So what are you going to talk about today?
I am going to talk about Riverdale. I'm going the paranormal route this time. Riverdale Road and the Gates to Hell up in Thornton, Colorado.
We're going to go visit there, right?
Yeah, we plan on taking a field trip.
We'll post pictures when we do.
All right. So resources for this are from Ranker.com for a couple 10 chilling stories and urban legends that prove Colorado is the creepiest state by Lyra Radford. The most infamous and downright creepy urban legends from every state, by Aaron McCann. A Sentinel article, What the H Is That? Colorado Conundrums by Grant Stringer. Forgotten Past of Adams County, Volume 1, The Wolperton Mansion, edited by Leona L. Gustafson. The David Wolpert House Dissecting a Riverdale Road Ghost Story by Katie Rudolph. A 9 News story, What's Considered One of the Most Haunted Roads in the Country is Only a Few Miles from Denver by Allison Silty. 8 Facts About Riverdale Road, The Most Terrifying Place in Colorado You've Never Been To by Casey Bradley. And posts on Amino, Only in Your State, Colorado Urban Legends. Blogs. I know, there was a lot of stuff, but there's a lot on this. It's apparently pretty popular up there, and there's all kinds of reports.
So we'll have to do it when we could spend the night, so that we don't have to drive back. Because which one of us is going to drive back in the dark? I
can't see. Can you see? Nope.
That's its own horror story.
Especially because I think it might still be somewhat rural for parts of it.
And we'd want to be taking pictures as the sun was going down.
We have to get out so that the Phantom Jogger I'm going to tell you about and the Phantom Camaro. Okay. Riverdale Road. Gosh, I'm not going to have to say that much, I hope, because it's hard to say over and over. Riverdale Road is in Thornton, Colorado. It winds in east-west direction, ending in a place where the gates are said to lead you straight to hell. The Wolpert Mansion, or where it used to stand. As you can see from all the sources I listed, there have been enough reports of odd and frightening things happening along the road that there have been various news reports and psychic investigations. Even the mayor said something about it, because I don't know if I forgot to look and see when she was mayor, but she lives on Riverdale Road.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's probably saying, get off my yard.
No, she was like, kids like to drive down the road and scare each other, and there's all kinds of stuff that happens around here. So some of the things reported along the road are a ghost Camaro with no driver who challenges other drivers to a race, bodies hanging from the cottonwood trees in the moonlight, a lady in white who's only ever seen in the rearview mirror, and a ghost jogger who harasses motorists who stop on Jogger Hill. As for the jogger, he's said to have been killed in a hit and run. When people pull over for whatever reason, it's supposed to be a really beautiful view. You can see planes taking off from DIA from up there. Denver International Airport. They hear running footsteps. Something pounds on their car and mysterious handprints appear on the windows. Which is so funny because that's Gold Camp Road too. The handprints on the windows, but those are children's handprints. People like to do that. At times, his loud heartbeat can be heard along with his footsteps.
Damn, that is a loud heartbeat.
Right? Like, shit, is that you? Is that me? What is that? Oh, it's a jogger.
If you can hear my heartbeat,
I think they're hearing their own heartbeat.
Yes.
Whether the jogger wants in or is looking for revenge, no one has waited to find out.
I will.
Hello! Yo! We got water! It's water. Come talk to us.
We brought Gatorade.
The Camaro has only one headlight and is believed to be a result of a single car accident that killed the driver in the 1970s. As far as legitimizing that, I didn't see anything specific, but it is a high accident and fatality road. The road winds and it's far enough outside the major city roads that people tend to speed along its curves, causing frequent accidents and fatal car accidents. Some think victims of single car accidents were racing the Camaro led to their death in an act of revenge. So, could be that he, she, it, they, them, the Camaro has been challenged into races and nobody ever knows because they died in the car accident.
Sounds like Christine.
Yes. No driver, it just does it on its own. The 9 News story, I watched the video of it, involved Denver Ghost Hunters. That's the company, Denver Ghost Hunters. Its co-founder, Stephanie Smith, did a talk. She walked along the road to see what she felt, said she felt nervous while walking down the road and even saw the shape of a man in the distance and heard the sound of cowboy boots. Plus orbs were floating. This was all on the west side of the road. She often takes tours there and has everyone walk on the west side of the road. Women frequently feel freaked out in the same spaces where she felt and saw things. Occasionally, some men do as well. It's usually women. No history explains what she's encountered there. I don't have any other tales of somebody in cowboy boots walking up to cars or people. At the end of the video, which you can watch online, it was a 9 News story. The car wouldn't start right away, the 9 News vehicle. Oh. So it wouldn't start after they pulled over to film the video footage, but they did ultimately get out of there. Okay, Lady in White. We love the Lady in White.
That's such a nice mystery.
It's
a nice
urban
legend.
They're usually looking for children or something, though, and this one's no different. So they see her in their rearview mirrors. They believe she only wants to find her way home. Others think she's looking for her lost children who were murdered in the Wolpert mansion. We'll get to that in a minute. When people stop to offer her help, she doesn't look at them, just continues walking, and then she disappears from sight in the rearview mirrors. And there are a few who tried to open their car doors to get out, talk to her, and she disappears then and there. So again, this is reported by a bunch of people. A young boy who is thought to have been hit and killed on one of the blind curves smears bloody handprints on street signs, and then the blood disappears when daylight comes. That's all on him, though. I guess he doesn't run around putting it on cars. I don't understand why it's always handprints on the windows. There have also been reports of ghost children playing alongside the road and phantom or demon dogs watching people drive by. Others claim these are actually Native American shapeshifters, though the indigenous people of this area, this is me adding this part, aren't known for having shapeshifter mythology, so it's the usual bullshit.
And you know I can't resist a dog.
Right. Like, you puppy! The same people who say this are probably the ones who claim there was an Indian burial ground in the area. Guess what, y'all? The United States is an Indian burial ground. Get over it. We're not all being haunted by native ghosts. As well as they say that the ghosts hanging from the cottonwoods were hanged slaves. I couldn't find anything on that being a big thing about any big lynchings. Doesn't mean there weren't. We're just saying people tend to go to those are their standbys, you know. And that'll get mentioned one more time. I debated leaving it out or keeping it in, but it was mentioned a lot, so I kept it. People who live there say various abandoned buildings along the road get graffitied and headless animals are found near them as if sacrificed. Sometimes footsteps approach, but no one is there. So finally, we're going to get to the end of the road. At the end of Riverdale Road, you find 9190 Riverdale Road. There's actually an address. I wonder if the GPS will just take us there. And that's where the Wolpert mansion stood. You must enter the gates to hell to get to the property and its remains. Made of iron and long broken, they stand sentry to a property that has seen death, satanic worship, human sacrifice, and the lick of flames.
Sounds like a family reunion to me.
Right? Set the bonfire.
The lick of flames.
Finally, okay, so I'm going to talk about David H. Wolpert really quick. He was born in Ohio in 1883, followed the Santa Fe Trail to New Mexico, where he joined a group of 16 men who went up to North Park, Colorado to seek gold, which is how a lot of people ended up here.
Yep.
Seeking the gold. During his time in Colorado, he built the Clayton Block on Larimer Street in Denver, then followed the Platte River to the east and built his manor in 1864. He then bought more adjacent land to total 145 acres on either side of what is now Riverdale Road. The same year he built the house, he got married, and they had 2 daughters and a son through their marriage. This house was known for being especially nice and unusual for the era. It had 2 floors, which wasn't necessarily common at that time. 9 bedrooms. It was made...
Damn.
Yeah, it's big for this. So that's why it's like the Wolpert Mansion or the Wolpert Manor when you look it up, which maybe now wouldn't be considered so huge, although 9 bedrooms. It's anyway, it had a red brick barn, 2 wells. Ooh, you're really ritzy rich when you get 2 wells. as well as a now notorious chicken coop I'll talk a little bit more about. He was a famed agriculturist, and he died in October 21st, 1909. Hey, I didn't mention the last time. Hello, ADHD, that the serial killer Brown, who killed Heather Dawn Church, was born on Halloween.
Oh. And this guy couldn't have been the 1911.
Nope, he was dead in 1909.
He was McDead.
McDead. In a quote from Forgotten Past of Adams County, it said that after his family no longer lived in the house, it became a drover's inn for cowboys, a gambling den in the 1920s, a house of prostitution, and a racehorse ranch. It is said one owner became drunk and lost the mansion in a card game. Another source said it was a saloon and a hippie commune at other points and times. The building stood there for quite a while. In May 1975, the chicken house burned down, which I assume that's the chicken coop. I don't know why it says chicken house, because that's what it said, and I was like, is that different? Nope.
I'm like I'm waiting. The
notorious chicken. And then I say chicken house instead.
You said, yeah. Well, I'm still waiting. I'm like, how notorious can a chicken?
So notorious. Because somebody stole the axe from there and went and killed people, and it was chicken blood. Firefighters were able to get there and extinguish the fire before it did too much damage, took out the house, anything like that. But they inspected the house and showed it was a high fire hazard. So at that time, the health department ordered the landowner to kick the tenants out who were renting the building because it wasn't a safe place to live. During this time, the Adams County Historical Society was talking of refurbishing the property, taking it in. Dr. Hugo Rodek had submitted it for the National Registration of Historic Places in January 1975, so about 5 months before the chicken coop burned down. Unfortunately, on November 28th, 1975, the mansion burned to the ground at about 1 a.m. No cause was found for the fire. Once the tenants had been kicked out, vandalism had begun. It's thought that the vandals either set fire to it, whether on purpose or accidentally, or that someone burned it down due to a high level of interest in the land by business interests, quoted there. The land had been bought by a development company, and it was rumored they would be building a new city called Washington City on the land. As per an article in the Rocky Mountain News called Drive to Save Old Home Started, which was about Dr. Rodek and his wife trying to preserve it. Had they succeeded, no one would have been able to remove the building and build on that property.
Right.
So it's thought that it was burned down to solve that little dilemma and not get it protected.
Because you are on the historical register, you have to have permission to change the toilet paper.
Everything.
I mean, yeah.
So it would have ultimately screwed them up. Now, what's funny is nothing ever got built there. There's no Washington City overlooking DIA. And now part of it is considered Pelican Pond's open space.
Oh.
So kind of pointless to burn the house down. Okie dokie.
Well, unless it was an accident.
Right. Or somebody completely different. So, though the area still retains much of its beauty, screams can be heard where the mansion used to stand. False stories have stated a man murdered his wife and children, then burned the house down. But I did a whole bunch of research on that. No such thing happened. It's well documented that the house was empty when it burned down. So that was kind of sad because it took away some of my ghost stories. But
I was like, why would you hear screams?
See, now my whole thing with hauntings and ghosts is I tend to think of it as energy left over. Yes. That's why you see it where something violent happened. Think of all the things that place was. A house of prostitution, racehorse place, a Dover's Inn for the people. Right. Dover's Inn, hippie commune. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that could have happened there.
That's true.
But I didn't find any big incidents. But, maybe they just weren't in there. Maybe I wasn't looking in the right places. The remnants of the old chicken coop remain. And it's thought that the underground portion, like I haven't heard of a chicken coop, but it had a room underneath it. And you can still go down there. I saw pictures of people who'd been down there.
Why would you need an underground portion of a
Precisely.
chicken coop? I'm glad I asked that. I was not even coached. I was just like, what the fuck would you need a cellar for your chicken coop?
Maybe that's where they kept that's where they were refrigerated there.
That's where they kept their wine.
That's right. So it's thought that it's used to summon demons and sacrifice animals and humans. There are weird markings on the walls if you go down there now.
Chickens have very bad handwriting.
They do. I know. It's like they're like symbols of black magic written in blood. And I'm like, how do you know it was blood? How about if it was chicken poop?
Okay, different color, but yeah.
For those brave enough to venture through the gates to hell and go into the underground area, something breathed on your neck down in the darkness. It's a chicken.
It's a big chicken. Perhaps a rooster.
He's very angry.
It's Colonel Sanders. Like, let's go. I'll kick those gates
Fried
open.
chicken. Clothing is often found in the area, which people claim belongs to those missing and who were killed in the human sacrifice. You sacrifice and then you just scatter their clothes across the lawn.
I thought you were going to say clothing is optional.
The chickens wore clothing.
I was like,
I think if a chicken can wear a tie, you can too.
I was just going to say, if I'm going through the gates of hell, I am not going through naked.
Why not? That feels a little apropos for hell, if you ask me.
No.
Yep. That's all I have to say. Yep.
It's just not me.
All right, and here's the other one that I was like, Finally, a burn-scarred tree still stands near the side of the original house. It's claimed the burn scar is actually from a slave who was hanged, then burned. So, if anyone sits under a tree, they can hear it creaking. Duh.
Well,
Sometimes there's moaning. Again, duh. It's an old burned tree. More likely,
it's in pain. Okay.
The tree was burned when the house burned down.
I'm thinking.
And it creaks and moans because it's a tree. That's what I wrote in my notes. Because it's a tree. I haven't even heard of the Wolperts having
It's a big old...
maids, but I guess they would have.
How did they make the leap from this rich guy had a house, and then after he died and his family was gone, it got used for many different things. But how did they get from abandoned house to it's the gates of hell?
And that's the thing is, it's like the Blue Mist in Estes Park. The Blue Mist and it's scary. Okay, but what does it do? No idea. So I wrote a story about it. But that's like this. The gates to hell, they never say, they're like, if you go through the gates, you'll wind up in hell. And I'm like, or open pond space. What is it called? Pelican Pond open space. Yeah, so it's one of those things that it's like they build it up so big, which is why I called it Riverdale Road, because that had the more interesting stories, in my opinion.
Yes, because at least there seemed to be things that happened there that led directly to, there was a car accident, so there's somebody, the driverless car or the jogger who was... At least there was a cause. Yeah. I'm like... So kids are graffitiing the old chicken coop.
Which they do.
As
and leaving their clothing, you know why?
Well,
because they're probably getting jiggy with it.
I'm thinking so. Was most of this clothing of the underpant variety?
Right, where there's some Sarah shirt here or there. I don't know. So, the ghost activity along the road seems rampant and consistent enough to be true. Even attracting a bunch of newspapers and stuff around there to go check it out. As for the manor and the gates to hell, much of what's attributed to that area can't be proven to have happened at all. And again, I looked to see if anybody murdered their family. No. And no one actually explains how the gates lead to hell.
I told you, the Hellmouth is in Kansas. We have to go visit that.
Yep. Unless we get there and they're like, oh, we don't know what a Hellmouth does. It's no big deal. We just like to call it that. And I'm like, God damn it.
This is like in a cemetery. The one in Kansas.
Nice. It probably has ley lines.
Probably. There might be stairs involved.
So we got to work for it then?
Right? I thought getting to hell was easy. Apparently not. You have to have cardio before you can go.
Or we could just wait until that inevitable day. That seems easier. Well, there's a high likelihood the house burning down was a result of arson. There's no evidence anybody was inside when it did so. Clothing left on the premises is just as likely to be left by teens who braved the property to do some naughty things, including painting symbols and graffiti inside the old chicken coop, which I'm fascinated that it's still there. I did find online pictures of people who've gone out there. There's still remnants of, I don't know if it's the barn or what, but ended with still, are you willing to gamble on the gates to hell being a falsehood and step through?
My answer is hell yes.
Why, yes! So far, I haven't heard of about... Yeah, they say, like, anybody who goes missing around there, they're like, oh, they were sacrificed at the Wolpert Mansion. And I'm like, first of all, stop saying at the Wolpert Mansion when it's not standing because it burned.
Yeah.
Second of all, it would be the Wolpert Chicken Coop. How big can that be?
Let's have a sacrifice up at the chicken coop.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe on top of the hill where the jogger died, that would seem to be a...
they even call that Jogger Hill.
Yes, but I'm like, let's go up to the old chicken coop cellar and...
The tiny, weird cellar under the chicken coop. Well, he was an agriculturist. Maybe he kept agriculture.
Maybe he penned in the agriculture. Now, you know, where the house that I grew up in, there was an old chicken coop in the backyard that we used as a playhouse because it was an actual 4 walls and a roof. And it didn't have an upstairs, but there was like a storage space up over it. But yeah, there was no basement. I can't, that's what's...
Yeah, my grandparents had a cattle, they always called it a farm. I know it's supposed to be called a ranch, but it was really just this little farm in the woods in Oregon. It was fully wooded, nice free range. But anyway, they had a barn, and once they sold all their cattle that I had brought up from babies with a bottle for meat, then the barn was empty, and they would let their neighbors let their cattle over so that they had more range for their, might as well come eat our grass. But yeah, I don't even think it had I don't remember a loft. It was a small barn. There was hay in it still, so it was hay, and then it was open with the troughs on one wall.
Right.
And there was no cold cellar. My grandparents did build this farm and everything.
And I'm trying to think, what would you put under a chicken coop? I was trying to think, well, maybe it was something
cold
else.
Storage?
Maybe it was a root cellar.
But why would you want it under where they're going to the bathroom?
Yeah, I'm like, chicken coops stink.
Yeah.
That chicken poop does not smell like daisies.
So, I don't know. Or maybe that's not even actually where the chicken coop was, and it's just a random cold cellar, right?
Right.
Like for the time, that would make sense.
Now, they wouldn't have needed a storm cellar, but it could be a cold...
There's tornadoes in Denver. They rarely touch down.
I was going to say...
Except at DIA.
I don't think they're often enough that people built storm cellars, did they?
I don't know. I don't think they touch down often enough. I've been at DIA a couple times when tornadoes were there, and I was like,
well, that's because you're you.
It's true. I gotta tell you, DIA, you go in, and when you're going through the security lines, the TSA check is completely windowed. Huge space, 2 floors, windowed. And they're like, the little bus comes and picks us up in our car because there's all these funnel clouds above us, and we're like, oh shit. He comes like 2 wheels around the corner, and he's like, get in! And then he flies down, he stops and picks up one other person, and then he goes and he just barrels down underneath this concrete covering because the tornado's coming. It still doesn't touch down, so he's like, go on inside! We go on inside, and then you look up and it says, do not go near windows.
And you're like,
they're on the overhead, and I'm like, we have to get through here to get to where because all the bathrooms are considered tornado shelters at DIA.
Yes.
But you got to stand under that glass first. And they're like, well, if it had come down, we would have been screwed.
We need to do one on the Denver airport.
Oh, yeah. All that weird
conspiracies.
Yep. The Illuminati. They actually have jokes about that up during their construction.
Because that's what the Illuminati do. They build airports.
Well, yeah.
And chicken coops.
You know, DIA is huge for human trafficking and stuff like that. So maybe I could see that would be a great place to store people, to put that really badly.
Perhaps.
All right. Well,
I think we've come to the end of episode 2. Woohoo!
Yay! Next time we are going to be doing our birth states.
Yes, which is New York for me
and Oregon for me. So we'll see what we come up with.
And we would like to hear your stories of mysteries and monsters and anything mysterious that you've experienced or you've heard of, or is something that's the local folklore where you are or where you grew up. We will have all the information on our Facebook page. That'll probably be the easiest place to get it.
And that's under the Mysteries, Monsters, and Mayhem. We also have a website that is mysteriesmonstersmayhem.com. And our email is, you want to take a wild guess? Mysteries Monsters Mayhem at gmail.com. We want to hear from you. So you can either email us directly at that email, or you can go on and there's a form for you to submit your stories to us on there.
We have a form?
A form!
Very excited.
Yay. Yeah, as of the recording of this, I'm still working on that website, but it's there.
By the time you hear this, it will be up.
That's right. And we'll be posting pictures of the stuff we talked about.
Yes.
So, yes,
and
please send us your stories and we will share them on the episodes
or we'll investigate.
Oh, yeah. If there's something that you just want us to look into, by all means. We're trying to do things that you haven't heard a billion times in all of the other podcasts.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Ted Bundy.
Right. I mean, there might be some common ones that we end up talking about just because, hey, this is something that particularly interests me. But our focus is trying not to do the ones that you've heard a billion times, so that maybe it's a little bit different. So we look forward to seeing you at our, you listening to us. We don't really see you. Stay creepy, stay kooky, and send us all your creepiness. We need you to share.
Yes. Thank you for
Thank you.
listening.